Hello everyone, so welcome to our fourth video, and the fourth video is based on lab number 3, and this is one of the interesting lab because it's the transition from a basic Python towards something, you would say logical or iteration related Python, because this lab is about for and while loop. So there is one thing which is common in all programming language, that is loops. Loops means if you want to run a single line of code multiple times. Now, if I want to say you hello every time, so I will write print hello, print hello, print hello, and if I have to tell it 5 times, so I will write it 5 times. So it's very difficult for me to write it 5 times. I can use a loop system. In that loop system, I will just use it one time and I will iterate it 5 more times. So it will give you the result 5 times more. So that's how loops basically work. So we have basically two kinds of loop in programming language, Python programming language. We have one more do while as well, but we normally don't use it. The very famous two loops are for and while loop. So the very first thing you need to understand and you want to clarify the thing is the difference between for and while loop. So for loops has a starting point and an ending point, and there are some jumps. Jumps can be, it could be a jump of 1, it could be a jump of 2, or it could be jump of any nth number. Whereas in while loop, you have an initial point, you have a final condition, and then you have a jump. So see, there is a very thin line difference between for and while loop. In for, you know from where to start and where to end. In while loop, you know where to start, but you don't know exactly where to end, but you know the condition till it should work. After the condition gets false, it will automatically off, or it will automatically not iterate. So this is the very big difference between for and while loop. So whenever you are writing a code, a logical code in Python, so you have to understand the condition or the situation first, that whether which type of loop is worth it. Like it's not like every time you can use for loop or every time you have to use while loop. It could be a combination of for and while as well, or it could be only while loop depends on the condition, only for loop depends on the condition. So let's start. So the first thing you need to understand is to make students familiar with loops and syntax, difference between for and while loop, analyze the error messages, of course. So we'll start with for loop first, because for is much easier than while loop. So a for loop is used for iterating over a sequence that is either a list, tuple, a dictionary, a set of, or a set, or a string. This is less like for the keywords in other programming language and works more like an iterator method as found in the other object-oriented programming languages. So in a nutshell, basically for loop is iterated over a sequence. So as I already mentioned earlier, that you should have a start point and you should have a final point. It can be implemented on a list, tuple, and dictionaries, which we will do it later on in this course. So you will learn how to use for loop with list and for loop with tuples as well. So the syntax of for is very simple. First, you need to write the name for. Then you have to write the name of a variable. That in is a predefined function, and then range is a predefined function. And then in the parentheses, you have to write three things. One is your starting point. One is your final point, and third one is your jump. And inside that for loop, you have to print a message. So let's take an example. We'll start directly with the code. So we'll do the same steps. We'll make a new Jupyter notebook file. We will rename it as lab3. And you know that the meaning of hashtag is comment. So I will write for loop over here. So let's take an example. I'm writing a code to print hello world or hello users 5 times. So I will start with for. I have to assign a variable to a loop. So it could be any letter, it could be any variable, the same condition that we implemented in the first lab after installation, that variable name could be anything except it should not start with a number, or it should not have any spaces in between. So you can write for I, the famous variable which is used in loops is basically I. For I in range. Now let's take an example. I want to start my loop from 0, or you can say 1. Let's start it from 1. And then I want it to go till 5. And then the jump should be 1. So 151 means it will start from 1, it will go till 5, and the jump would be 1. So the jump means if the first number is 1, the second number would be 2, the third would be 3, the fourth would be 4th, and the fifth would be 5th. But here you will see a magic that my expectation is that it should go till number 5, but it will not go till number 5. Why? We will just see it right now. After for loop, you have to add a colon, and then after enter, I will just print the variable I, which means I need to understand that how many times basically the loop is running. So I will just write I over here and see the magic. If I run this code, it started from 1, that is completely fine because my starting point was 1. Then it went to 2 because the jump was of 2. Jump was of 1, sorry, and then the second number after 1 is 2 because 1 plus 1 makes 2, then 2 plus 1 makes 3, 3 plus 1 makes 4. But actually, what is the problem over here? You missed the 5. So if I remove the 5 with 6, now if I run this again, so see the 5 is the part of the code. Now you can understand one thing, that if the final number is 6, it is going till 5. But if the final number is 5, it's going till 4, which means in for loop, the first number is part of iteration, but the last number is not part of iteration, which means if the first number is 1 or any other number, it will be part of the iteration, it will be part of the result as well. But the last number is not part of the result. So it will always end to the n minus 1 number, which means if your number is 6, so it will end till n minus 1, which means 6 minus 1 gives you 5. So it will run 5 times. If the ending number is 13, so it will run till 12. If the ending number is 18, so it will run till 17. So that is basically the sequence. Now what if I replace the jump instead of 1 to 2? Now see the magic. Now see the first number is 1, but the second number is now 3. Why? Because the jump is of 2. So you actually increase the jump as well. So when do you increase the jump? When you want your transition to be very fast, or when you want your increment to be very fast. The jump could be of any number. It could be of 1, 2, 3, 4 to the nth number, depend upon your condition. But you realized one thing. The first number was 1, second was 3, and the third was 5. It should go till I guess after 5, if you will, plus 2, so it should also print 7, and it should also print 9 and so on. But the final number was 6, so it also works till the condition. So if the condition is still 6, so it will not go after 6 as well, so it will end before 6. Now if I make it 1 again, and instead of I am writing hello users, and then comma, I am writing I. Run. Now see, hello users 1, hello users 2, hello users 3, hello users 4, hello users 5, or you can just remove the S. So see, hello user 1, hello user 2, hello user 3, hello user 4, and hello user 5, which means the loop is actually working how many times? 5 times, because the final number is 6 and the initial number is 1. Now there is one more trick. If you want your loop to run to the nth number, to the exact number, so there is one trick. You can start it with 0, because the indexing, if you have learned C language, so the array indexing starts with 0. So if you will write 0 now, so see, there will be now 6. Now see, there are 6 messages, 6 output, but the iteration is actually from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's actually 6 basically, but the iteration is starting from 0. So if you want to the nth number, so you just have to switch the initial number from 0 to 1. That completely makes sense. Now, what if I want to do this code using while loop as well? So the condition here remains the same. Let's go back to the manual first. So in for, you have a starting point, final number, and then you have a jump. In while, the pattern is a bit different. So in for, you have everything on a same line. In while, you have turn pattern. So the initial number comes first, then you have the condition, and then you have the increment. So it's like in for, it was like initial, final, and the jump or the increment. In the while loop, it's from up and down. So you will start with initial number, then you will start with the condition, and then you will go towards the jump. So let's try it. We'll go to the lab manual, we'll just copy the exact same code, we'll paste it down here. Instead of for, we'll write while loop and let's change it. So in while you have to start with the condition first. So my condition is I is equals to 0 because I'm starting from 0. You can start from 1 as well, it's completely fine, but you can start it from 0 as well. Then the second thing was the condition. So let's just move everything from here and write the condition. So while the I should be you can say less than and equals to 5. So which means it will run how many times? 6 times, because 0 is itself is a number, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 5 as well. Then we have 6 number. But what if I remove equals to from here? So it will move till 4th, which means 4th iteration, which means only 5 numbers. So let's just test it first without equals to. Inside this while loop, you just have to write print and then the variable I. And in the end, what is basically missing over here is the increment, because I already told you previously that you have a starting point, you have a condition, and the final thing is increment. Always remember one thing, if you will not write increment in your while loop, it will go to infinity, which means it will never exit. It will go till, end condition, it will go to the infinite conditions. So you will write I is, and you will realize it while you will be coding. And if you think your code is not stopping, which means there is something wrong with the increment. So I is equals to I plus 1. I plus 1 means it's a increment of 1 only. So if the first number is 0, the second should be 1, third should be 2, and so on. Let's run this code. So you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Why 5 was not part of the code? Because here we have written I should be less than 5, not less than and equals to 5. If I write less than and equals to 5, and then if I run it again, so see the magic. The 5 is also now part of the code. Now my intention was to write hello user. So I will just edit one thing over here, hello, inside the inverted commas. So I will write hello user, then I will write comma. Now, hello user 0, hello user 1, hello user 2, hello user 3, hello user 4, and hello user 5. So that's how things work out if you are doing Python language. And in Python language, that loops are very important. So these are just very basic kind of loops. But as soon as you will start list and dictionaries in this course, because list and dictionaries are part of this course, basic course, so you will understand much in detail. So I hope you understand the difference between for and while loop. Now come back to the lab manual. So there are a few questions which you have to try it on your own, and that's very simple. Write a Python program to print all even numbers between 0 to 100 using for and while loop. So you can either use for loop, you have to use both loop in short. You can use for loop and while loop to print all the even numbers. So there's a trick. In even numbers, the number should be divisible by 2. So you can use if-else logic, or you can just use a jump of 2 after every number. Then you have to write a Python program to print all odd numbers between 0 to 100 for using for and while. Then the third is write a Python program to print table of a number to its 12th multiple. So the third is a very good, and it's very close to my heart. So you have to, so it's a challenge. Let's see who does it first. You can submit your the third question specifically on our email addresses as well. So the third question is basically, I will give you a number, or you have to ask user a number. So let's take an example. If I ask you 5, so you will write 5 1s are 5, 5 2s are 10, 5 3s are 15, and so on till 5 12s are 60. So you have to print me the table of 5 from 1 till 12. Of course, you will not take 0 as your first value, because anything multiplied by 0 gives you 0. So that's a challenging task. And if you will do the third task now, so you will be able to understand the logics behind for and while loop. And you can do it using for loop and while loop. It's completely your choice. In the third question, it's open-ended question. So it's not compulsory that you should do it using for or specifically while. You can do with any of the loops which you think is very easy for you. So I hope this is clear. Up till now, we have covered conditional statement, loops as well. Our next video is more, difficult, not difficult, but more, complicated than the previous ones. So that's the more you practice, the more it will be easier for you to, cope up with Python programming language. Good luck.